Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the feature race at Gulfstream on Sunday is the $75,000 Sunday Silence Stakes. We're going 1.125 miles on the main track. It's carded as race number 9. Before we get started with the analysis, let me remind you to please try those DRF mobile pass performances. Experience classic PPs with true mobile interactive access. Anytime, anywhere, on your device. You get the exclusive lifetime buyer speed figure graph and more. Learn more at drf.com/MPPS. Here's the field for the $75,000 Sunday Silence Stakes. Only a field of 7, but a pretty competitive bunch, Mike. Spinoff has always been considered a horse with a great deal of potential for Todd Pletcher. He was second in the Louisiana Derby last year, missed the summer and fall, second off a layoff, stretching out. He figures to take some money.
Yeah, he does. I think he makes some sense in this race for sure. I do think, he's going to have to take a step forward. It seems like he has the potential to do that, but it feels like at a short price, he's a horse who probably has to improve to win this.
Timeform U.S. pace projector for this race. Well, they don't think the pace is going to be that fast. In fact, it's a blue bar situation in Timeform U.S. parlance. That means that it favors horses on or near the lead, and the number 1, Wind of Change, should be able to make the front. Wind of Change went gate to wire last time out, going a 1-turn mile at a big price. Let's watch that race. First time blinkers for Wind of Change, and he showed these horses his heels from start to finish, just holding on at the wire over Next Out Winner Network Effect. I guess the 1 1/8 is the big question mark for this horse. In his native Brazil, they kept him at shorter distances. They're stretching him out for the first time here.
Yeah, you can see in this race even, he's not finishing that strong. He's very game to hold on, but he didn't really finish that strongly. I still thought he ran well, though, Dan. I mean, he was loose on the lead in there, but it's not like he walked early. I thought he went a legit pace. I thought he ran well. He's definitely a player in here, especially if he's clear on the lead early.
I Have a Jedi is the number 2. This is a horse making a second start of the form cycle. He was 4th at 128-1 last time out in the House Hope, and I think that underscores the pace of that race. It completely fell apart. I Have a Jedi was in another zip code after the first half mile, and he picked up some pieces to get a piece. 180 degree different scenario perhaps this time around from a pace perspective.
I mean, he just looks like he's in tough anyway. I can see, maybe trying to sneak him in there underneath somewhere. I had a tough time seeing him beat this field, though.
Spinoff, graded stakes placed at 2, graded stakes placed at 3, and after winning at this distance at Saratoga last summer, it looked like Todd Pletcher was going to run him in a race like the Travers or the Pennsylvania Derby. Instead, he disappeared. He returned earlier this year in a 7-furlong race against a pretty tough cookie in Global Campaign. That race probably sets him up for a nice effort here. I would expect him close to the pace, but again, you are taking a short price against a horse who's facing some salty runners.
Yeah, I don't know how short a price I would want on him, Dan. I did think he ran, okay, all things considered last time, if only because it just sort of looked like a prep for a horse who wants to go longer. He chased the pace the entire way in there, never had enough to win it, but stayed on pretty well to the end. I think he's going to appreciate the added ground here. And if he takes a step forward, he's tough.
I think Big Dollar Bill, the 4, is really going to appreciate 1 1/8. This is a horse who chased a tough one in Trophy Chaser last time out in the Grade 3 Challenger. He finished ahead of a horse that came back to be stakes placed with a 91 buyer speed figure. Big Dollar Bill seemed to get good when he was really stretched out in distance in 2018. Really didn't get that opportunity to go those marathon distances last year. I think it's sort of a slow stretch out for Big Dollar Bill. I think he actually wants a little bit more ground, and I think he might want a little bit more pace.
Yeah, that's probably true. A slow pace in this race wouldn't help his chances. And I think there is some question as to whether he's ever going to really get – I mean, he had a really good year, I thought, in 2018. And then I know it was only 4 starts last year, Dan, but maybe he didn't run quite as well. The added distance does help him in here, though, and he's probably a fair price if you like him.
Number 5, Fat Man, is simply in career form right now. His last 3 races have resulted in a graded stakes win, 2 graded stakes placings, and Beyer speed figures ranging between 98 and 102. And one of those 3 Beyers might be good enough to win this race. Let's go back to his most recent start, the Gulfstream Mile. He made a 4-wide bid on the turn. He's on the far outside right now, and he's just not going to get to Mr. Freeze, another very sharp horse who simply got the jump on Fat Man turning into the stretch. I guess if you have one concern about Fat Man, it's the 1 1/8. He has the tactical speed, I believe, to get close to the pace. I don't think the pace will bother him. A 1 1/8 is a little bit of an issue, but boy, is he sharp right now.
Right. The distance, I guess, could be a sticking point for him. But with the form that he's in, especially those last 3 races, as you alluded to, I just didn't really want to worry about it that much. He's won around 2 turns before. I know they're not 9 furlong races, but he's won 2-turn races before. He comes here in excellent form. I think in a lot of ways, he's just way the horse to beat in here, as much as I respect Spinoff's upside.
Just Whistle, 3rd start of the form cycle for Michael Matt, seems to be moving the right way. Improved first blinkers last time out. Let's take a look at that Howell's Hope Stakes. And as we mentioned earlier, this race, the pace fell apart. The leader, Bodie Express, went fast early. He went early for home, and he's starting to fall apart. Just Whistle made a prolonged mid-move down towards the inside. He's in second. He's eventually going to get past Bodie Express, but he's going to get run down by a 1,000,000-to-1 shot. A good effort for Just Whistle, who appreciates a 1 1/8, but he'll be a fraction of the price he was in this race.
Yeah, that's a real problem for him. This race obviously won't set up that way either, it doesn't seem like. Listen, you liked him last time. In some ways, you probably should have scored in that race, and you didn't. I just think he's really tough to take back out of that race.
You're to Blame goes out for Pletcher. He's a veteran making his 2nd start of the form cycle. One of the few horses that really didn't make a dent from the back of the pack last time out in the Howell's Hope. And I guess you could make the case that because of that, that's considered a disappointing effort. We know that Todd is excellent off layoff, so I'm usually not concerned about that. I would have expected him to kick a little bit more, and now that's 2 races in a row where this old-timer hasn't fired. He has back races, certainly, but he's another horse that likes to come from out of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you believe that Pletcher can get him back on track here, he's certainly a major player. He's got the races to be a big contender in here. Like you, I'm very concerned about his last 2 starts. He has not run well in either of those races.
Top pick time for the $75,000 Sunday Silent Stakes, the feature race at Gulfstream on Sunday. And Mike, we look at it the exact same way. 5-3-1-6, Fat Man just too sharp to ignore right now.
Yeah, I'm going to take him in his current form. I really like his last 3 races in particular. I'm going to take him in here. I thought long and hard about putting Spinoff on top, but listen, Dan, it's not like he's going to offer some kind of great value in this race, even if he does take a step forward.
Race 9 at Gulfstream. The Sunday Silent Stakes has an approximate post time of 4:52 Eastern. Good luck.